It's only about binding constraints, so to say. We need the classical diagram with somehow straight lines. Surplus, demand, and you will see it in a second that we will need a binding price ceiling. I hope that all of you came up with that solution. And for the exam, please do never forget to label all your x's, okay? For the exam, I will write that down very precisely. To get the overall amount of points, you will need to label the x's properly. This is Q, quantity. That here is P, the price. We have supply, we have demand, then it's fine. And we have a binding price ceiling here. A binding price ceiling. And now I would like to have some help from your side. Why is it binding? And why do we end up, as you can see here, we should end up in a shortage of our good. Why is that red price ceiling a binding one? And why do we have the shortage? Where do we have the shortage? Maybe from here to there, or from here to there. Do we have a shortage from here to there, or from here to there, or I don't know, or from here to there? Where can we find the shortage? Please help me.
Equilibrium.
Oh, Arnold, I have to increase my volume. Now please go ahead.
It is above the equilibrium when the shortage occurs. If there's a binding price that is above the equilibrium, then it will cause a shortage.
It's a binding price ceiling because the price ceiling is below the equilibrium, isn't it? Yeah, the price axis we have there, the equilibrium price. We can write it down. Let's say in green. It's not as necessary, but I think that's what you had in mind.
Yes.
Here, that would be the equilibrium. That would be the price for the equilibrium. And there we can see that the equilibrium price is below the price of, the equilibrium price is above the price of the price ceiling, and that's why the price ceiling is a binding one, okay? If the price ceiling would be there, red line here, for instance, then the price ceiling would not be a binding one, okay? Let's say price and equilibrium, that's 20, price ceiling is 25, not binding at all, okay? Arnold, thank you very much for your help. Who wants to inform us about the question where the shortage can be found within the graph? Where can the shortage be found? Please help me.
On the left side, where the demand is higher than the supply, that is.
Where demand is higher than supply.
That conflicts with the binding price ceiling, I think.
Yeah, in between the demand curve and the supply curve quantity-wise, okay? The shortage amount or the shortage, it's called, typically you can call it shortage demand. The shortage demand, that's a different color. The shortage demand can be found there in between, okay? From here to there, that's the shortage amount. Or let's say shortage demand, not amount. Okay, well, you can go with regards to the Q-axis there in between, and then you can easily see it. The shortage is always about the quantity, isn't it? That's why whenever it's about a quantity, just have a look at that axis. Is it a binding or a non-binding one? Have a look at the price axis.
But won't we have shortage on the left triangle as well?
Sorry, could we say it again?
Wouldn't we have the shortage on the left triangle as well?
A shortage in the left triangle? No. Because here you can find the shortage there because quantity-wise demand. That's what people would like to buy for a somehow small price. But for the somehow small price, that here supply, this quantity is offered. Quantity-wise, for that you can say quantity-wise for that price, that amount is demanded here. That's the demand. You can say demand for P with a hat on it, price ceiling. And this here, that's the supply. Supply for P hat. And there in between is the shortage demand.
Yeah, but also like on the left triangle, the demand seems to be like really high, supply is low, and the price ceiling is somewhere in the middle. I mean, not in the middle, but
I do not get the question, to be honest. Do you have that triangle in mind? Or which one?
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly the triangle I was talking about.
Yeah, but there is no demand at all. But if you have a look to that triangle, then the demand is here. That left triangle is not connected to the demand, isn't it? That triangle you have a look to, it's maybe connected to the supply. Okay, no, but that's all. For that binding price ceiling, for price of that level, here, that's the quantity supplied.
I see.
P with a head on it, okay?
All
For this price, that's here quantity supplied. For that price, quantity demanded. And quantity demanded, it's much higher than the quantity supplied.
Gotcha.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's why here the question was about when do we come up with a shortage? And the short answer would be once we have a binding price ceiling, then we will come up with a shortage of our good. And to have a binding price ceiling, we will have to fix the price below the market equilibrium price. Okay, maybe you can add this by yourselves. The price for the binding to have the price ceiling being a binding one, you have to place the price below the equilibrium price. The equilibrium price is here, and the binding price ceiling should be below the equilibrium price. Okay, maybe you can do your own comments there to have it, let's say in red here, binding. Especially for binding, it has to be below the equilibrium price, EQ. That's the first question I had in mind for today. Now let's go on to have a further kind of summary within our exercises. What determines how the burden of the tax is divided between buyers and sellers and why? Now we have some more participants, and I would like to send you to the first and short breakout session for today. And the breakout sessions, they will only work if all of you join in, okay? All of you should join the breakout session, and please join it in a very active way. Please activate the camera, please activate your microphone, and start a discussion with your fellow students. Let's do this exercise 620 within a breakout session for the next 3, 4, 5 minutes. You can, once you need help from my side, you can send a message to me. If you're done, then you can come back to the oral room, and maybe I will join the one or the other group to see if you have a discussion or not. But all of you should join in. Okay, now you will get an invitation. Please accept that invitation and join the breakout session. Thank you. There are still 3 students besides me. Please join the colleagues in the breakout session. Thank you very much. a few seconds, all of your colleagues will be back and will have to be back automatically in 7 seconds. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now all of you are back. Who wants to present the solution for that exercise to us? Again, you can share your screen, you can come to the microphone, explain it with your own words, but for me it would be great to have some help from your side. So we have some volunteers.
Sir, I can answer the question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
What usually determines how the burden of the tax is divided between the buyers and sellers is by determining the elasticity of the supply and the demand. Because if the demand is very inelastic and the supply is elastic, then most of the tax will be paid by the buyer. And however, if the supply is inelastic and the demand is elastic, then most of the price will be paid by the seller.
Yeah, that's it. Very good summary. Perfect. Maybe I can write down a very short solution for that one. Exercise 620. Arnold, thank you very much. You came up with the very best ideas. It's about the elasticities of supply and demand, and that side of the market with the smaller elasticity can't leave the market as fast. And that's why then this side of the market with the smaller elasticity bears most of the burden of the tax. That's it. I'll write it down in a short way. Yeah, the burden of the tax is divided between buyers and sellers depending on the elasticities. Is divided between buyers and sellers. It is depending on the elasticities. Elasticities of demand and supply. Because of the elasticity in general, the elasticity in general represents the willingness of buyers and sellers to leave the market. Of buyers and sellers to leave the market. Maybe not only the willingness to leave the market, it's about responsiveness as well. Okay, to what extent I tend to respond to an increase in price for sure, but here it's more about leaving the market. To leave the market, which in turn depends on their alternatives, which in turn depends on their alternatives. And that's how we had the discussion last week. In the short run, I can't easily change my production program, or in the short run, once I'm driving a car with a combustion engine, I have to buy gasoline somehow, irrespective of the price, because I have to travel to work, as long as you're not doing online teaching. Okay, that's why in the short run, it's always about small elasticities, and in the long run, the elasticities are always higher. Okay, now last sentence, when a good is taxed, when a good is taxed, that side of the market with fewer good alternatives the side of the market with fewer good alternatives cannot easily leave the market. Cannot easily leave the market. This means if I have fewer good alternatives, can not easily leave the market. I have to stay within that market, and that's why bears more of the burden of the tax. And thus bears more of the burden of the tax. And maybe you can remember it in a very sloopy way, okay, not really formal. Sloopy way of writing down would be that's maybe the way you can try to memorize it. Once you have the small elasticity, or let's say smaller elasticity, the smaller the elasticity, the tax hurts more. German translation would be, die Steuer tut mehr weh. Die Steuer bereitet mehr Schmerzen. More pain in terms of a larger disadvantage for you, okay? And here you can say fewer good alternatives means here fewer good alternative means small elasticity, and smaller elasticity you can't leave the market easily, and that's why the tax hurts more, or the more formal way of saying would be bears more of the burden of the tax. Okay, that's in a core or Arnold had the short way of giving us the answer that's the slightly more extensive one. Any questions for this one? I don't think so, isn't it? Okay, then let's go on with even more exercises. This here is my most favorite exercise for chapter 6. It's about the market for cheese. You can say it's the market for wine, market for beer, market for whatever. Okay. And please invest a few minutes and try to answer that question with the help of your fellow students. in the next Zoom breakout session. Yeah, for me, it was great to see that you had a good discussion, at least in one of the rooms. I will set up a new grouping, new mixture of students. Let's do again 3 rooms. 6 to 7 participants. Here we are. Please join in for the next few minutes, let's say about 5 to 10 minutes for exercise 21. Here we go. Please accept my invitation and please join in actively. Thank you very much.